Hi guys. Welcome to Science Info District. Let's see. U.S. military strength as #1 military in the world. The United States has one of the largest and most powerful military forces in the world. The country's military is divided into 5 branches: the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. The United States is ranked one of 145 out of the countries. The nation holds a power index score of 0.0712. Here is how U.S. military ranks #1 in the world. Before we continue, please subscribe and press bell icon. Capital: Washington, D.C., the U.S. capital, is a compact city on the Potomac River, bordering the states of Maryland and Virginia. Population: total population of US until 2021 is 331.9 million. GDP: with GDP of $23.32 trillion, the United States of America is the world's largest economy. GDP: U.S. per capita GDP is $70,248. Military budget: in 2021, the United States spent $801 billion dedicated to the military, making it the country with the highest military spending worldwide by a significant margin. The country's military spending is also the highest in the world, accounting for roughly 40% of global military spending. As it seems, the U.S. will not lose its ranking anytime soon. The U.S. military spending is predicted to increase steadily until 2032, and estimates suggest that defense spending will reach nearly more than $1 trillion by 2032. Total military personnel and active military. The United States is also among the world's top 5 largest armies, with about 1.4 active military personnel, and an additional 800,000 reserve forces. Let's start with United States Army. United States Army. Total Army personnels. There are 482,416 active members in the U.S. Army. California is home to the most active duty members within the U.S., with 157,639 stationed personnel. Currently, there are significantly less personnel deployed in other parts of the world, with 84,093 in East Asia and 67,393 in Europe. The vast majority of military personnel in active duty do not hold a college degree. According to survey in 2021, 888,300 active members held a high school diploma, GED, or some college. In the same year, 194,844 active members held a bachelor's degree, and 114,941 an associate's degree. When observing the breakdown of race among the U.S. military, it appears relatively diverse compared to the population of the country as a whole. According to another survey 2021, 920,264 active duty personnel were white, making up roughly 66% of the total number of personnel. The share of white active duty personnel is about 10% less than the share of white people making up the U.S. population. In the same year, there were 230,055 black or African American personnel, making up roughly 16% of the total number of U.S. DoD active duty personnel. In the last few years, there has been more diversity among enlisted women than men. In 2019, 54% of active duty enlisted women were white, whereas nearly 70% of enlisted men were white. Additionally, about 29% of enlisted women were black, compared to 17% of enlisted men who were black. While gender diversity within the military has increased, there remain stark differences between the occupational roles that men and women fill. In 2019, 25% of all active duty enlisted women held administrative positions, a significantly greater share than that among enlisted men, which was about 11%. Combat tanks. In 2023, the United States had approximately 5,500 main battle tanks in its armed forces, the most of any NATO member state. The U.S. had twice as many tanks as Turkey, which had the second highest number in NATO, at 2,229. APC. The AFV/APC gives muscle to the ground advance. GFP tracks this value as an extension of the overall ground force capability for each country considered for the annual GFP ranking. Ranking total armored fighting vehicle fleet strength by country, U.S. has the most 303,553 APCs. Field Artillery. The Field Artillery Branch is a combat arms branch of the United States Army that is responsible for field artillery. U.S. has total 4,243 field artillery. MRAP. The Army decided they would keep them in some sort of service post-war. Of the approximately 20,000 MRAPs in service, 30%, 6,000, will stay in brigade combat teams as troop transports and route clearance vehicles, 10%, 2,000, will be used for training, and 60%, 12,000, will go into storage. Self-Propelled Artillery. U.S. military have total No. of self-propelled artillery is 1498. Rocket Projectors Systems, MLRSs. Multiple Launch Rocket Systems, MLRSs, also recognized as rocket projectors, supply both a tactical and psychological effect on the battlefield, targeting areas of built-up enemy forces and reaching them through indirect fire at range. U.S. has 1,716 MLRSs with variety of ranges. Total vehicles. In total, the U.S. Army possesses some 225,000 vehicles of all types. United States Air Force. Total Air Force personnels. In 2021, there were 328,888 active duty U.S. Air Force members. Total aircraft. Total amount of aircrafts that U.S. military have are 13,247. Combat aircraft. U.S. military have 5,217 active combat aircrafts. UAVs. The department currently operates more than 11,000 UAVs or drones in support of domestic training events and overseas contingency missions. These aircraft range in size from the small RQ-11B Raven to the largest RQ/MQ-4 Global Hawk/Triton, which weighs more than 32,000 pounds. Transporter aircraft. Out of 158 transporter aircraft, U.S. military have 140 active transporter planes. Trainers. Out of 2,094 training aircraft, U.S. military have 1,424 active training planes. Active 1,424 total 2,094. Special mission. Special mission aircraft is designed to perform special military aerial operations. The United States Air Force, USAF, is composed of 731 special mission aircrafts. Tankers fleet. The United States Air Force operates 650 tanker aircraft, the largest aerial refueler fleet on Earth. The rest of the world has perhaps as many as 250 tankers, and, of these, 80 belong to the US Marine Corp. In short, the Air Force possesses a near monopoly on large-scale aerial refueling capability. AWACS. An airborne early warning and control system is an airborne radar system designed to detect aircraft, ships, vehicles, missiles, and other incoming projectiles at long ranges and perform command and control of the battlespace in an air engagement by directing fighter and attack aircraft strikes. There are 31 AWACS aircraft in the U.S. inventory. Strategic bombers, the B-1 Lancer, and the B-2 Spirit. While numbers can vary based on availability, there are only 141 bombers in the U.S. Air Force at present. However, while that might not seem like a lot, the damage they can unleash certainly is. Electronic warfare. The mission of a United States Air Force Electronic Warfare Squadron is to use the electromagnetic spectrum, EM spectrum, to attack an enemy or impede enemy actions by denying the use of the EM spectrum whilst ensuring friendly forces free access to it. The 6 fighter jets, EA-18G Growlers, are equipped to carry out a variety of missions, but they specialize in what's called electronic warfare, principally the jamming of enemy radar with a flood of radio frequency waves to suppress air defenses. Helicopters. U.S. military comprises of total 5,463 helicopters. Attack helicopters. Out of 5,463 helicopters, U.S. military comprised 983 combat helicopters. United States Navy. Total Navy personnels. There are 343,223 active duty Navy members in the United States Department of Defense. Total naval assets. The United States Navy has approximately 485 ships in both active service and a reserve fleet, with approximately 85 more in either the planning and ordering stages or under construction, according to the Naval Vessel Register. Aircraft and helicopter carriers. The United States has 11 aircraft carriers and 9 helicopter carriers, nearly as many as all other countries combined, followed by Japan and France, each with 4. Frigates. The U.S. Navy currently has 18 frigates in service. Corvettes. The U.S. Navy currently has 22 corvettes in service. Destroyers. There are 72 destroyers and 17 cruisers. Arleigh Burke and Zumwalt-class destroyers are warships that provide multi-mission offensive and defensive capabilities. Destroyers can operate independently or as part of carrier strike groups, surface action groups, amphibious ready groups, and underway replenishment groups. Submarines. Today's submarine force is the most capable force in the world and the history of U.S. Navy, comprising 53 fast attack submarines, 14 ballistic missile submarines, and 4 guided missile submarines. Mine warfare craft. There remain 11 MCMs in current service to the fleet. These ships use sonar and video systems, cable cutters, and a mine detonating device that can be released and detonated by remote control. Ports and terminal. The United States' 926 ports are essential to the nation's competitiveness, serving as the gateway through which 99% of overseas trade passes. Ports are responsible for $4.6 trillion in economic activity, roughly 26% of the U.S. Laser technologies. U.S. military comprises various power laser weapons, including 300 kilowatts laser weapon by Lockheed Martin, which operates high-energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance system. Airports and airbases. There are approximately 14,400 private use, closed to the public, and 5,000 public use, open to the public, airports, heliports, and seaplane bases. The number of active-duty Air Force bases within the United States rose from 115 in 1947 to peak at 162 in 1956 before declining to 69 in 2003 and 59 in 2020. Despite recently closing hundreds of bases in Iraq and Afghanistan, the United States still maintains nearly 800 military bases in more than 70 countries. The U.S. military strength is also bolstered by its global presence, with military bases and installations in over 150 countries. Nuclear weapons. U.S. military nuclear arsenal include more than 5,500 active and inactive warheads and weapons. Operational history. U.S. has long operational history. After World War II, United States emerged as the strongest army in the world. In addition to many operational, U.S. has confronted major wars including Korea War, Vietnam War, Iraq War, and Afghanistan War. Current rivals. China and Russia are the current rivals for U.S. and they have close in war situation in multiple time, for example on Taiwan issue and Russia-Ukraine war. Overall, the U.S. military strength is significant, and its capabilities enable it to project power and protect U.S. interests both at home and abroad. What do you think, which country has the best military in the world? Let us know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more interesting videos.